Good morning, Dr.S.Thirumala, Professor, Department of Environmental Science, Government Doctorate College, Davangere. Today, I will talk about part 2, population and environment. Human population and environment, part 2. Last class, I will discuss about cancer, symptoms of cancer, and remedies. Now, today, our communicable disease, HIV or AIDS. HIV stands for immunodeficiency virus. Untreated, HIV can lead to the diseases AIDS, the immuno syndrome. Unlike some other viruses, the human body cannot get the rid of the HIV completely. So once you have HIV, you have it for life. HIV attacks the body immune system, especially the CD4 cells or T cells, which help to immune system fight for the infection. If the left untreated, the HIV reduces the number of CD4 cells. It is the T cells in the body, making the persons more likely to get infection or infection-related cancers. Over time, HIV can destroy so many of the cells that body cannot fight off infections and diseases. These are opportunistic infections or cancer take advantage for very weak immune system and the signal that the person has AIDS, the last state of the HIV infection. No effective cure for the HIV currently exists, but treatment and medical care HIV can be controlled. Used to treat HIV is called antiretroviral therapy or to right way every day. This medicine can be dramatically prolong the lives of many people with HIV, keep them healthy and greatly lower their chance of the transmitting of the virus to other body today. A person who is diagnosed with HIV treated before the diseases is for the advanced and stays on the treatment can live nearly as long as someone who does not have HIV. The only way to know for the sure if you have HIV to get tested. Testing relatively simple. You can ask your healthcare provider for HIV test. Many medical clinics, substance abuse programs, community health centers and hospital offers them to. You can also buy the home testing kit at the pharmacy or online. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS. AIDS means acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. AIDS stands for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, final stage of the HIV infection. And not everyone advances to this stage. AIDS is the stage infection that occurs when your immune system is badly damaged and become vulnerable to opportunistic infection when the number of your CD4 cells falls below the 200 cells per cubic millimeter of the blood. 200 cells of cubic millimeters of cells, you are considered to have progressed to AIDS. The normal CD4 counts are between 500 to 1600 cells in millimeters of the blood. It can also be diagnosed with AIDS if develop one or more opportunistic infection regardless of your CD4 count. Without treatment, people who are diagnosed with the AIDS typically survive about 3 years. Once someone has dangerous opportunistic illness, life expectancy without treatment falls to about 1 year. People with AIDS need to medical treatment to prevent the death. Where did HIV come from? The scientists identified that chimpanzee in the central part of the source of HIV infection in the human. They believe that the chimpanzee version of the immunodeficiency virus called Simon immunodeficiency virus or SIV most likely was transmitted in the human and mutated into the HIV. When humans hunted these chimpanzees for meat and came into the contact with their infected bloods, studies showed that HIV may have jumped from the apes to humans. As far back as the late 1800s, over decades, virus slowly spread across the Africa and later into the other parts of the world. We know that the virus has excited in the United States since at the last of the mid to late 1970s. Causes of HIV. You cannot become HIV positive from again sneeze, cough, sharing with baths, towels from the toilet seats, from sharing cups, plates, or uh, cutlery. You cannot get HIV from any animals or the insects, including mosquitoes. HIV is not passed on the through biting, but HIV can pass through unprotected physical relationship using the needle or injecting the equipment which has already been used by the someone who is infected with HIV. The human with HIV can transmit the virus to her baby before you during the birth or by breastfeeding. This risk can be reduced by testing and the treatment during the pregnancy planning. The delivery and avoiding the breastfeeding. The injecting the blood of an HIV positive person to any uninfected person can also cause the HIV. This is some of the airborne diseases. Pulmonary tuberculosis is the TB. The pulmonary tuberculosis is an airborne disease that affect out of the very lack of people in the United States says the medicine diseases occurs when a person inhaled the infected respiratory droplets. Symptoms of pulmonary tuberculosis include coughing of blood or the excessive night sweats, fever, weight losses, and tiredness. This disease can be also lead to chest pain, wheezing, and problems of breathing. The exact causes of pulmonary tuberculosis is the Mycobacterium tuberculosis bacteria. The Medline Plus says that the elderly infant and those people with weakened immune system have risk for getting the tuberculosis. Treatment for pulmonary tuberculosis involves taking antibiotic medicines such as isoniazid or rifamine or eliminated the bacteria. This treatment may be for more than 6 months depending upon the severity of the tuberculosis. Next one is H1N1 flu. The H1N1 flu, commonly called the swine flu, is the another air passed via respiratory droplets. The H1N1 became a house the spring of the 2009 when the epidemic of the type of the flu arose. The specific H1N1 flu symptoms include fever, diarrhea, chills, headache, body ache, and fatigue according to the Mayo Clinic. Other flu symptoms including cough and vomiting typically. These symptoms develop after the 3 or 5 years, 5 days of the initial exposure. This flu may last for about 8 days. Especially in H1N1 flu, virus cause this type of flu. Typically, ill persons do not require treatment other than supportive medicines found at the local pharmacy. However, antiviral medicines such as oseltamivir and zanamivir may be prescribed to fight off the viral infection. Usually, pregnant women, AIDS or HIV sufferers, children younger than 5 years of the age, and those with chronic medicinal condition such as asthma are considered high risk for the groups for H1N1 that may benefit from the some of the medicines. Pneumonia or respiratory arrest or stop breathing and expiration of the diseases such as asthma may result if the H1N1 flu is not treated. Measles is the very contagious diseases that spread via the hair droplet from the infected person's state midlines. Symptoms of the measles include cough, fever, muscle pain, and light sensitive on the rashes on the body. These rashes can be revealed itself. Therefore, 5 days after the showing the most of the forementioned symptoms and can last for a long as a 7 days. Especially these rashes in the form of the reddish in color, flat, itchy, and raised in the some of the places on the skin. The other measles symptoms is including runny nose or sore throat, redness of the eyes, and small white spots on the inside of the mouth. No specific treatment exists for the measles, but resting using the humidifier and taking acetaminophen may be beneficial in the managing of these symptoms. This is these are all the diseases of the communicable diseases, and these are the diseases you have to study. Now I will move to the role of information technology in human health. What is information technology? Application of the computer or telecommunication and their equipment to store, retrieve, or transmit manipulate the data. The span of several industries such as computer, hardware, software, electronic, or semiconductor, internet, telecom equipment, e-commerce, and computer services. These are all the information technology. Now, information technology in India. Industry consisting of the two main components of IT service business, process of the outstanding of the BPOs. The important role of the revenue employs 2.5 million, growing at over the 9% of India is one of the biggest IT capitals of the modern world. Bangalore, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Chennai, and Trivandrum, Noida, Mumbai, and Pune contribute. They are 90% of all the IT exports. IT from the environment. The IT from the information technology from the environment, it is a very much role. The tremendous potential can be acquired, stored, analyzed, and visualize the satellite data for the observation and protection of the environment. Easily accessible around the world, dramatically reduce the cost of increasing the speed, improve the productivities, and open up in the new challenges and opportunities in the IT in the environment. The database. Most of the important application of the IT environment, the collection of the interrelated data on various subjects, can be retrieved when the required user-friendly and convenient to the store large amount of the data and analyze the data gathered. The environmental database. The US EPA Office of the Pesticides has been environmental database that use the assess the hazards of the environmental to wildlife, aquatic life, and the plants. The ecotoxicity database is the one of them. UNF maintained several data set as the national, sub-regional, and regional and global statistics. The geospatial data sets maps covering the themes of like freshwater population and forest, climate, disasters, and health and GDP. These are all the database in India. The Ministry of Environment and Forest, GOE, compiles the database various the biotic communities. And also it maintains the wildlife database, conservation database, and forest cover database. National Management Information System, NMIS, is the DST, compiled the data based on the research and the developmental of the projects. ENYS, the Ministry of the Environment and Forestry, GOI, has created the information called Environmental Information System. It's called as ENYS. It means Information System of called Environmental Information System. It is headquartered in Delhi with 25 different centers for all over the country. ENYS centers work on for generating the network of the database in areas like pollution control, clean technologies, remote sensing, coastal ecology, biodiversity, Western Ghats, and Eastern environmental management, media related to environment, renewable energy, desertification, mangroves, wildlife, Himalayan ecology, and mining. These are all, they are comes under the ENYs, they will monitoring of the ENYs database environment. Remote sensing. Remote sensing means acquisition of information technology on object of phenomena without making any physical contact. Generally, it refers to using the aerial sensor technology to detect the classified object of the Earth. This is the new sensor being developed in rapidly. This remote sensing, the weather forecasting, the climate changes, natural disasters, the cyclones. These are all they will predict it by through the satellite by remote sensing. The using of the remote sensing data studies have focused on the mapping, monitoring changes in the products caused by monitoring of the wind erosion, monitoring of the water logging, monitoring of condition in the remote vegetation, cereal crop seed mapping, predicting the salinity, monitoring range land condition, cost of effectives, monitor of the broader areas. Example, the land monitor project in the Australia. Using this remote sensing the data, these are all the monitoring of the our Earth sphere. GIS, Geographical Information System. It is the design, capture, store, and manipulate, analyze and manage the present all types of spatial geographical data. It is the broader academic discipline of the geoinformatics. The science underlying the geographic concepts, the applications and systems, they can use GIS to study the environment, report to the phenomena, and model the working and responding of the environment to natural and man-made factors. Using of GIS, manage the multiple types of geographical information technology, the groundwater purity, to assess the relationships of the runoff, groundwater purity, measure the change of wildlife habitat in the encroachment, model of events such as drought impact on the forest health, improve the workflow of the process of the data, gathering and analysis of publications and distribution of the findings. For example, Project Tiger used this GIS information to accurate, estimate the track, protect the tigers, and remaining nearly 1706 tigers left in the country. These are using the geoinformatic system, the geographical system you use, they analyze and data analyze. The human health. The WHO describes health as the state of the physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely these absence of the diseases or infirmity. The innovation leading, converging of the information technology, life science, and creating the vast qualities of the data. The health of information technology provides the umbrella, the framework to describe the comprehensive management of the health information across the computerized system. Helps in this exchange between the consumers, provide the government, quality entities, and ensures. Database. Again, database come from the data regarding the birth rate, death rates, and the immunization program can be maintained more accurately than before in the health centers due to computer. The information statistics about the diseases like malaria, fluorosis, AIDS, and the DNA database. These are the genetic information about the population, medical records, the fingerprints. It can be stored in the database store. The biological database, NSB, National Center for Biotechnological Information, contains several databases which store the data, the protein data, nucleotide data, and genotypes of data. These are the biological data they will store in the computers. The National Center for Biotechnology Information Advanced Science Health by providing access the biomedical and genomic information. The PDP, the Protein Data Bank, the several other databases including PCR database, metabolic and signal pathway, RNA, proteomic protein, interaction database, etc. They are stored in the biological database store. Global burden of the diseases, GBD. This is the comprehensive regional assessment of mortality and disability from the major diseases, injuries to risk factor. They are collaboration of nearly 500 researchers in the 300 institutions over the 50 countries. They are commissioned in 1919. Between the hundreds of the experts help to estimating the spread and prevalence of the diseases and major causes of the death in the worldwide. The whole project was made possible due to the increased ease of the storing, assessing, and the inferring of the data under the global burden diseases. Biometrics is the related to human characteristics and traits. Biometrics is the authentication is used in the computer science as a form of the identification and assess the control. It is also used to identify individual in the group under surveillance. It is a distinct measure to describe and label individuals. Other is the world largest biometric database in the world. The fingerprint, iris scan, and face photo, along with the demographic data of the person, is compiled. It is the interdisciplinary field that method and software tools are the understanding the biological data also. The combines the computer science and statistics, mathematics and engineering and study and the forces of the biological data. The major application in the sequence of analysis of database, literature, structural bioinformatics, gene and protein experiences analysis and algorithms, the statistical methods to assess the relationship of the biological data. This is the one of the newly introduced telemedicines, use of the telecommunication and information technology in order to provide the clinical care at the distance, to help eliminate the distance barrier, to save the lives in the critical care and emergency situations. Benefit to use the remote regions with specialists living far away. Also eliminate the possibility of the transmission in case of the infectious diseases, example MRCS cases. E-health is the relatively recent healthcare practices supported by the electronic process and communication. It can also include health applications like links in the mobile phones referred to the as a health. In case of mental illness like depression, e-health provide the anonymity of to users. It is also easily accessible. It is the gaining momentum in academic research as well as in the psychological clinical work. Family and marriage therapy and mental health counseling also is done by the e-health. Biomechanics robots that stimulate the biological organisms are inspired by them chemically or mechanically. The nanotechnology use also being studied. Nanobots is a program to act as the delivery system within the organism like blood. In the biomercy, robots have to program to make the mechanism simpler and more effective. Research and humanoid robots is also become increasingly popular. Broadcasting, this is another major role of in the telecommunications. IT, it helps the spreading awareness about the diseases and prevent the measures be taken. One of the best way to spread the awareness about the preventive measures is by media. It is a recently Ebola outbreak has been extensively covered and reported. The telecommunication is helped in the contaminated of the diseases. Nowadays, now we are now facing the corona. These are also, they will broadcasting the telecommunications to creating the awareness of the people. These are the technologies used in telecommunications, the epidemic diseases through telecommunications to creating the awareness of the diseases. Controlling of the diseases. Isolation is one of the major steps controlling the highly infectious diseases in the ongoing Ebola, corona virus is contaminated, spreading awareness of the first step to taken. This reduces the panic and provide information about the prevention and it infected. The treatment is the option. The several airports and many countries screen the passengers for the eye temperature and other symptoms via thermal sensors and computers without any manual labor need. This was the possible due to applying IT services in the medical field. The biological equipments, most of the biological equipment is the diagnostic medicines are run on the program and algorithms. This is make them machines user friendly and time saving. Most of the machines are pre-designed programs with specific application which make usage of the easier. Additive manufactures, 3D printing, it also makes use of the programs to techniques. Thank you. This is the human population and the environment, and also the role of information technology in the role of information technology.